life jackets on board the Archipelago are located on the main deck forward to the left. Structures. National Park Service brought in some non-native boulders because our sandstone and brownstone is very soft. He does this from time to time. He even dressed in front of that fog signal building. There is a white pole. Has a box on it, a solar panel, and an acrylic lens on top of it. That is the location of the light today. The original buildings that are behind the lighthouse and behind the fog signal building, that story-and-a-half building that you can see there is the old barn. Now, the lighthouse keepers used an old Queen Anne stove for cooking inside the lighthouse. It was fired with wood. You can see today that the American flag is flying at the lighthouse. That means the lighthouse is staffed. The Haddock community. The community quite frequently came up and visited the lighthouse, and you can read the logbooks where you would see that they had birthday parties and other types of get-togethers up here at the lighthouse. This lighthouse was built in 1881. If you have a camera that has a little bit of a zoom on it, right above that white door, there's 3 brownstone blocks that create the archway above the door. The center block has the date, 1881. Now I started talking about that flag flying. The National Park Service utilizes volunteers here in the Apostle Islands. Without the volunteers, clear as can be. This is neat. The 2 passes, everybody will get a great chance to see, so don't worry about that. So don't worry like you have to go from one side of the boat to the other. You can stay right where you're at. Now if you're standing up and you can see, that's even great. If you want to stand up on the right side, look over to the left side, you can do that. We just can't have everybody go to the left side. That is created because the layers of sediments that were deposited of that particular layer. We got a bald eagle on top of this tree right in front of us. Very top high. So those layers of sediment were deposited depending on where they came from in those individual storms. If they're very porous and very soft, erode away at a very fast rate. That's why the rate of all the line of all the holes are all in the same layer. Here you can see the bald eagle. That tree that's leaned back right behind the tree that the eagle's sitting in is where their nest used to be. Last year we had some very strong winds that tipped over that tree and broke off the nest. Luckily, it was late enough in the season and all the eaglets were flying already. As you're looking over on the shoreline, you can see that there are some different colorations. We got some oranges, light greens. That's called lichen. Lichen is an algae and a fungus that coexist together. This rock pile that you see off to our left here was an archway that collapsed back in the 1950s. Directly behind that, you can see where the face of that rock has been broken off very freshly. That was just a couple years ago. This formation in here altogether is called the Cathedral. Total of 5 different arches in there. Now this particular arch right here to our left, this opening has been getting bigger and bigger every week. There's been a lot of rocks on the left-hand side that have come down in the last couple weeks. You guys having a good paddle today? So if you look over here on your left, look right at the surface of the water, you're going to see some dancing on the water, and that's where there's a little bit of a waterfall coming down. This particular area right here, the amount of water that comes over is directly proportionate to how much water we've had in recent days. Right here to the left-hand side, a lot of algae in the side of the rock there. I call that one the slip and slide. There's always a little drizzle of water coming down on that one. That's just my name for it. Here's one of these. You can see that fracture in the rock going up in that very smooth face. Now, many of you may have seen some photos of the winter ice caves. The photos of the winter ice caves are pretty popular to have one that looks like a pin cushion. It's upside down pin cushion, just needles hanging from the ceiling of that cave. That's this cave right here to your left. We see those ferns that are in there? That is the cave that just drips from the ceiling, and it produces those icicles that look like a pincushion. Now we're at about 19 feet of water out here. Today we pretty much stay in about 13, 14, all the way up to about 20 feet of water. We try to stay in deep enough water. There is some large boulders that actually be down the shoreline. So every spring when I come out here, I do my first scouting mission to determine where the water depths have changed. There's one of those vertical fractures right there in the corner. All right, look directly to your left, right at the water line. You're going to see two round eyes and some little holes between those eyes looking right at you. Do you see them? Who is it? E.T., yeah. I told you guys we're going to see the most famous alien of all time. So E.T. is right there to the left. And then just up on the point, about even with the bow of the boat, is the skull. You're going to be able to see the skull. The teeth are at the water line, a couple feet up is the nose. If you don't see E.T. or don't see the skull, hold up your phone like you're going to take a picture, and you will see it just pop right out at you.
Yeah.
Could actually be down the shoreline. So every spring when I come out here, I do my first scouting mission to determine where the water depths have changed. There's one of those vertical fractures right there in the corner. All right, look directly to your left, right at the water line. You're going to see two round eyes and some little holes between those eyes looking right at you. Do you see them? Who is it?
Alien.
E.T., yeah. I told you guys we're going to see the most famous alien of all time. So E.T. is right there to the left. And then just up on the point, about even with the bow of the boat, is the skull. You're going to be able to see the skull. The teeth are at the waterline, a couple feet up is the nose. If you don't see E.T. or don't see the skull, hold up your phone like you're going to take a picture. And you will see it just pop right out at you.
Yeah.
You guys want to do a roll for us today? If you do a roll, I'll do a roll.
Next time kaya ko naman ito.
No, she thinks he's one of the instructors. Oh, okay. Oh, they are by themselves. Okay. I think they're more So would you rather have done that? No? Would you? What? Yeah, but maybe we'll come back someday. I think it would have been fun.
This cave, directly to our left, is called the garage.
Oh yeah, it looks like a garage.
Now this next little formation here coming up, the coloration on this rock is just phenomenal. I used it as I had a photo of it I used as my screensaver for quite some time. Now right around the corner from it, there is an archway that goes through. This archway is called the Keyhole Arch. Right there's some of our local wildlife up on the bank. You want to do a roll today? This cave that's right here to the left, right even with the bow of the boat, just in front of the kayakers. Back in 2015, in the spring of 2015, we had ice out here Memorial Day weekend. That cave had ice in it all the way into July.
This is our big side.
Over to your left, if you use just a little bit of imagination, you can see all those little holes just above the water line. Kind of look like the portholes on a cruise ship. The bow of it's to the left. Depending on what you had for breakfast, sometimes you can see some pretty interesting things in these rock formations.